lovely people, and welcome to Owen's Mind, a light-hearted trip through the contents of my head and the world in general. It is Sunday the 13th of October. My name is Owen, and here is what is on my mind today. So, how are we? I hope you had a good week. I hope your weekend is going well. It's pretty early here today. I was up really early. I'm up sort of 5:30 through the week, and on a weekend, I can't switch that off. So I was up early, so found some news stories I wanted to chat about, off to the gym once I finish speaking to you guys and I'm uploading this. So yeah, I'm in for a good day. I'm going to watch El Camino this afternoon, the Breaking Bad movie. Been looking forward to that for a while. It dropped on Netflix the other day, so yeah, I'm a little bit quiet because it's still quite early here and I don't want to wake anybody else up. But yeah, there we go. So as always, I've picked out 5 stories making the headlines today I wanted to give my thoughts on. Links are in the descriptions below so you can read each article in full and show those original publications some love. So without any further ado, let's get into story number 1. And story number 1 today comes from BBC News, and this is Holy Tech. Churches are trying new ways to connect with people. So yeah, this is the church. It's realised it has to move with the times, so it's using technology to try and draw people in. So this story focuses on Geraint Harries, a technology specialist from St John the Evangelist in Lancashire. He admits that when they first started using social media, they kind of fell into the trap that a lot of people do, whereby you search out likes and views and that kind of thing. But then a female parishioner credited the Facebook page for a decision to return to the church, and they said, right, now our strategy is actually starting to work. They put weekly posts up on their social media page, and the church simply asked, how can we pray for you today? And this resonated with a woman who was going through a divorce last Christmas, and she reached out and said it can, sometimes it can be daunting turning up in person to church if you've not been for a while, or if you've kind of fallen out of the rhythm of it. Having this social media kind of stepping stone in between, so you can kind of, have a look at the church, see how it's doing, and it can entice you through the door. But they say in the article, look, it's the social media side of it, that's your shop window. That's to give people a view. You've still got to engage them when they actually come in physically to the building. So getting more people through the door has been a challenge for the Church of England. Its own figures show that attendance at services has gradually fallen between 10 and 20% from 2007 to 2017. And while physical attendance has been in decline, digital efforts appear to be gaining traction. So there's a program called Digital Labs Program. More than 2,000 CV Church of England parishes have attended sessions across the country since 2018 to get advice on how to utilise social media such as Facebook and Instagram and this kind of thing. They've also started employing more technology on site, so by having high quality CCTV cameras, they can be open more because there's better security, so people can come in. People sometimes they want that bit of comfort, but they don't want to attend a service. They just want to come and have a moment of peace and quiet, and and just reflect on their own thoughts, and say their prayers and what they need to do when it's quiet. And now, because they've got better security and better monitoring, they can open longer hours, and so people can come in and be by themselves and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a good story. There is obviously another thing just before we move on. Collection plate. They've now got card readers as well. So if you don't bring money but you do want to make a donation, if you think you want to support your local church, or they're having a fundraiser or whatever they happen to be, requesting money for, if you feel the need, you can now donate using cards. So again, technology is pushing this on, and yeah, the church needed to embrace change. It's one of the oldest institutions we have, and there is a real, because of the religious nature of it, there is a real pushback against changing it. It's like, no, this is the way it is, and you have to be respectful of it. So you commodify it, if you will, but you do need to reflect the world you're in. And the world we're in now is a digital world. It's a digital age, and you need to keep up with that. So the fact that they're doing this, and they're keeping their core principles as they should be, but they're enhancing it with the technology. I think that's the balance they're trying to strike here. So yeah, fair play to them. If it means that people who wish to go can go more frequently, if they feel more connected, if they feel that they can't always attend, but they can reach out through various social media platforms and feel that connection with their religion. Brilliant, why not? Me, myself, not religious. That's just not for me. If that's for you, if that's for other people, that's entirely on them. Whatever brings you comfort should only be supported in any form. For some people it's friends, for some people it's music and arts, and some people it's the religion, it's their belief, it's their faith. So again, if that can be supported and nurtured and incorporated into a busier, more technologically advanced world, where it may have previously been left behind, by them embracing these technologies, fair play to them. Why not? So yeah, just a positive story, things moving forward. Let's move on to story number 2. And story number 2 today, this is from BuzzFeed News, and this is concerning. Police arrested a 13-year-old girl for pointing a finger at students in school. So yeah, this is a 13-year-old Kansas student who was charged with a felony after making a gun shape with her fingers and pointing at other students. This happened in September at Westridge Middle School in Overland Park, Kansas. The student had been asked by another student to point out 5 people you would kill, and she then indicated to other students with a gun finger gesture and then pointed to her own head. Several students reported the incident that night through the Shawnee Mission School District's website, which allows students to report bullying anonymously. After receiving the reports, the Westridge Middle School principal Jeremy McDonald interviewed the 13-year-old student and those who witnessed the incident, and then contacted the school resource officer. The officer determined that several of the students were genuinely fearful of this girl, and combined, this is important, with prior knowledge that he has, felt an arrest was warranted. That we're going to come back to that. Authorities could not comment on the student's prior disciplinary history because she's a minor. The student is now facing a criminal threat charge and was taken to a juvenile detention centre, and the girl's grandfather, called John Kavanagh, lives in California, says his granddaughter could face up to a year in juvenile detention, and he told the Kansas City Star he's worried about her future. He said she was just, this could have been handled in the principal's office. He was just mouthing off. Overland Park Chief of Police Frank Donches disputed reports that the student was arrested simply for making a hand gesture. He said victims in this case were genuinely concerned and fearful of this individual. When you combine that with the history that we're aware of, and the students are aware of, you combine all that, and these individuals were genuinely in fear. That's why the arrest was made. He also refuted reports that the student was handcuffed in the school and paraded out by officers, noting that she was handcuffed outside of the school for her own safety and that of the arresting officer. And he said, fair play to the guy, he said, I will take the heat all day long for arresting a 13-year-old, Donches said. I'm not willing to take the heat for not preventing a school tragedy. The Westridge Middle School incident is not the first of its kind. Colorado first grader was suspended in 2015 for making a finger gun and telling a classmate you're dead. So suspension, okay. In 2014, a 10-year-old in Ohio was also suspended for reportedly pointing a finger gun at another student's head. So the key here is this previous disciplinary stuff, which we are not aware of, and the article doesn't actually mention. So it depends what that is, because the police here and the school board and principal, they have to walk a fine line, because school shootings are horrendous and far too frequent at the minute. Now you could easily say, well, it's a finger, she wasn't armed. No, not at all. But previous people have put things on social media that they're going to do something horrible. That in itself is not, they're not armed at the time. They come back armed, and horrible things happen. Because we don't know what this previous disciplinary thing is, we cannot say that it was an overreaction, and that's the tricky part of the article. So it's a tough one. The school had to act because students had reported it, said we are genuinely fearful. So it says to me that the people in his room knew her, and this prior behaviour, whatever it is enough of a concern for them to report this. Because it was reported, action needed to be taken. An arrest, I don't know. For me, had it been a suspension and maybe the police had gone to her house away from school, because if nothing comes of this, she has now been arrested in front of her school friends, and you know, so there's that stigma as well. So maybe there could have been an interim. Maybe she could have been, you know, suspended because of this, pending investigation, and then the police had gone to a house maybe away from the view of the school and of the students. But it is a tricky one because you can't, like this officer says, like Officer Frank Doncher says, I'm not going to be the guy who did nothing and then something terrible happened. So maybe in his mind it was better to do this and have people view it as an overreaction than him to do nothing and risk something bad happening. And, you know, from his perspective, and probably from my perspective, I can live with a bit of an overreaction, but it'd be much harder to live with an underreaction that led to tragedy and things. And again, we don't know the likelihood of any of this happening because it alludes to this previous disciplinary behaviour and this previous knowledge of this girl up to this point, which we are not aware of. So it's very hard to actually say with any certainty, yes, this was an overreaction, this was an underreaction, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's sad that that's the kind of the society we live in, where somebody can do just a gesture and it can be interpreted as hostile because of things that have gone on before with other school incidents and things like that. So it's tricky. Hopefully it'll be resolved in a an appropriate manner, and things like this will start to go away, and kids can just be kids, and Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to something a bit lighter if we can. So, grading cannabis strength will improve mental health of users. This is an article in The Guardian today, and this is experts got together and they suggest that grading the potency of cannabis the way we put strength of alcohol in units on alcoholic beverages would result in significant improvements in the mental health of users. And this is researchers from Addiction and Mental Health Group at the University of Bath, working with staff from King's College London, UCL, and the Australian Catholic University in Melbourne, say more needs to be done to make people aware of the levels of THC, which is the main psychoactive component in cannabis that they are consuming. Writing in the journal Addiction, the experts suggest the level unit should be set at 5 milligrams of THC. That's the amount that would typically be found in a small joint. It's enough to induce intoxication, but without any psychotic symptoms. Okay, they say our findings add to a growing body of evidence that suggests the health effects of cannabis are dose-related. We believe a unit system would help both users and healthcare professionals by providing clear information on the types of cannabis products and their strength. Previous research from the team has highlighted how concentrations of THC in cannabis have doubled across Europe in the past decade, so it's all getting stronger. Although the use of the drug is widespread and there's moves in some countries to legalise it, standard units, which have commonplace in alcohol for years, have not been adopted in the health guidelines, and they've believed that a standard unit system would yield benefits for countries where cannabis use is illegal, such as the UK. Where the unit system for alcohol has helped consumers to better manage their alcohol intake, so too this could have important implications for cannabis users, said senior author Dr. Tom Freeman from the University of Bath. This should give clear guidance about the dose of THC people are consuming, and our hope is that the introduction of a system in locations where the drug is legalised will have a knock-on effect to countries where it is not, by providing users and clinicians with an important toolkit to guide safer use. So, yeah, as the article points out, here in the UK it is illegal, but it's out there and it's not going to stop. It's not going to go away. I think legalisation is the way it's going to go. Maybe in the next 5-10 years, because there's a lot of other countries that have now taken that step, and it's not had, to my knowledge, the massive negative effects which people base the arguments of not legalising it on. If it's legal, it can be controlled. It takes it back from the hands of drug dealers and that kind of thing, and the quality can be monitored. And if they introduce this standard level, then you can know your tolerance, because there is a link between, and the article goes on to state this, but it's a big article, so please refer to it if you've got an interest in this. But there is a correlation, obviously, between the amount of THC and the amount of usage of the stronger strains of it and mental health problems related to it. So anything they can do to kind of make users aware of that and clinicians aware of that can only be a good thing. Just speculating here, if somebody they could use this to build a useful resource, a database, if you will. It's like, okay, so now that it's all graded, we are getting more and more people coming in whose regular use is this many units. And we get people coming in with this many units who do not have the same level of effect or the same level of negative effects. So they can maybe start to balance it, and everyone's individual, but maybe you can use this information if they put this in place to go, right, we know that for 90% of people, this dose is sustainable. It gives them the high they want. It doesn't cause any particular negative mental effects. We know that this dose is too much for 70% of people, and you know, so it's all going to be useful stuff, because regardless of if it's legalized in the UK or not, there is a strong argument and component that it is going to be introduced for medical use. Whether that's going to be, I seriously doubt they're going to hand out spliffs, essentially, for want of a better word. It's going to be tablets or something. It's probably not going to be smoking. Although some people may prefer that. I don't know what the option is going to be. But again, it just needs to be, the more information we have, the better armed we are to deal with any negatives. So it can only be a good thing. Anyway, speaking of excess, let's move on to story number 4. This story is in the Mirror today. Okay, diners are challenged to take on the world's biggest plate of nachos. That's 15,000 calories. 15,434 to be precise. So a restaurant is challenging diners to wolf down the world's biggest plate of nachos, which is served in a supersized bowl, weighs more than a stone. So it's made up of a kilogram of tortilla chips, 3 kilograms of brisket beef, 1 kilogram of cheddar cheese, 500 grams of sour cream sauce and guacamole, and it racks up a whopping 15,434 calories. So, just to put that into some kind of perspective, recommended daily amount for calorie intake for an adult male, 2,500. I'm 6'4". I'm a big dude. I eat just under 3,000 a day, and I do monitor my calories because I have to keep in shape, and I'm getting a bit older now, so I do really keep an eye on that. So I eat 3,000 a day. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So Monday to Friday, my calories is one meal. So yeah, they're putting this on. It says anyone who clears the plate in 60 minutes or under will save themselves 40 quid and also get a free dessert. One contestant, Lily Cuthbertson, 22, from Northampton, failed to get through even a quarter of the meal. She said, I knew it was big, but I didn't think it would be that big. I instantly knew it was going to be mission impossible, but I love nachos, so I gave it a go. After 35 minutes, I had to stop because I was stuffed. My stomach couldn't handle any more, and the dish of nachos was never ending. She said I barely made a dent. Yeah, so if you want to take this on, it is at a place called the Smoke Pit in Northampton. So, yeah, a couple of things on this. It's one of their eating challenges. They're all over. There's TV shows about it. And big in America. There's more so over here. There's one near me, which was the hottest curry you could eat, and you'd win £1,000. Obviously, you can't get anywhere near it, because spice, you can just keep adding spice. So I'd never met anybody who did that. Me, never tried it. I enjoy spicy food, but for me, there's a level of heat where it becomes a challenge. I want my food to be enjoyable. I love food, and I want to enjoy my food, but at a point where it becomes a challenge to eat it, no. So I've got a level of spice, and again, there's a level of quantity whereby this just becomes a slog. However, 40 quid for it, 15,000 calories, 5 days food for me. So if you had a group of sort of 6 to 10 of you, and you split that between you, that's a cheap meal. Because there's easily enough food there. Easily enough food there for 8 people. I'll say 10 people, that's 1,500 calories. That's sort of 3/5 of your daily intake for a guy in one sitting. So if 10 of you took it on, 4 quid. So yeah, it's not a bad deal. View it that way. But again, the challenge is you've got to finish it yourself. And it made me laugh that it's like, okay, if you complete it, you get your 40 quid back and a dessert. Who's going to finish that and go, you know what, I could just go a pudding? My word. I'm sure somebody will do it over time. There's all these challenges that are like, that's impossible. And somebody will do it and they'll get the photo on the wall and they'll probably get a t-shirt. Fair play to them. For me, no, I'd go with friends and share it. But yeah, so there you go. Smoke pit in Northampton. If you want to take that on, 15,434 calories, have at it. Okay, and our final story today. Again, nice story to end with. This is via MSN News from the Telegraph. Tiger to be fitted with a prosthetic paw in a world-first operation. So I did one a couple of days ago, I think last week, about the is it Caramel the squirrel that had a wheel fitted because it lost a limb. This is a tiger that was maimed by a trap. Poacher's trap, and is being given a prosthetic paw in a world-first operation, which has been aided by a UK surgeon. So Professor Peter Gianodis from the University of Leeds helped Indian experts carry out a preliminary operation on the big cat. This week, 7-year-old tiger called Sahebrao, Sahebrao, Sabrao, will be fitted with the artificial paw in around 4 weeks in the first operation of its kind. It was rescued from a poacher's trap in Gonmahadi village in Chandrapur district in 2012, but the wound went gangrenous, and they had to amputate part of its injured left leg. Since then, it's been living in captivity at a wildlife rescue centre in Nanjpur's Gurewada Zoo. Professor Gianodis, an expert in fractures and bone regeneration, told the Telegraph he was advising the team and intended to be at the final operation, and he said he would not comment until the operation is complete. So the tiger was adopted by, and I apologise for these names, Sushrit Barpulkar, a Nanjpur-based orthopaedic surgeon in 2016, and after adopting the big cat, he started investigating the feasibility of getting an artificial limb, and he contacted experts abroad and around the world, and then he's teamed up with the University of Leeds and Professor Gianodis. So he said, we'll now be able to fix the prosthetic limb within 3 to 4 weeks. The limb will be manufactured in Nanjpur. We have taken all necessary measurements, he told the Indian Express, a Delhi-based newspaper. I wish to see him walk normally like a human being getting a prosthetic leg for the rest of his life. Tiger numbers, in a positive note, in India are rebounding after years of decline. The Indian government said earlier this year, rising 30% since 2014. However, traps still pose a threat, and many animals that are caught in these traps, if the trap's not returned to, suffer a painful death from infection. So, but a lovely story again, and it's people coming together to help out a creature. This tiger will never be able to return to the wild. Obviously, it's been in captivity for since 2012. It's happened, yeah, and he's been adopted in 2016. So it's with a prosthetic paw, not going to be able to return to the wild. Despite that, this gentleman is reaching out to it. He's going, I want to give it the best quality of life I can, you know. So, and they're doing this operation. They're going to give it a new lease of life, and hopefully it'll get walking again and get mobile. And again, it's just a lovely story. You know, it's twofold. Number one, collective people coming together to help out an animal. They don't need to help out, essentially. You know, it's a choice. It's a fantastic choice. It's like, you know, we can help this creature, give it a better quality of life. And that's what they're going to do. And they get no benefit from it, other than having this wonderful creature in the world. But there's no material gain for them. They're doing it because it's the right thing to do for this animal. Brilliant. The second thing it does, sadly, but in a positive kind of note, highlights what these traps do, and what a nasty, unpleasant thing they are, and how poaching needs to be tackled. And I know big steps have been taken all over the world, because any kind of wild animal is big business. But again, the fact that a lot of this cat is the lucky one, and you know, some, like it says in the article, will get caught and they will die a long, protracted, painful, horrific death just because somebody wants to sell their pelt and sell their teeth and sell bone powder and make a few quid off this beautiful creature. So yeah, positive for this tiger, highlights the danger of other things, which will hopefully spur governments to keep acting, to keep pushing forward and get these traps, you know, taken out of circulation, clear them, get these poachers behind bars where they belong, and you know, nature can be allowed to be nature. So that's it, guys. That is everything I'd like to talk about today. So links to all the stories I've discussed can be found in the description below, so feel free to go and check them out. Let me know what you think about this video and tell me, if you had to do an eating challenge, what would be the food of choice? If you had to eat it, absolutely stuff yourself, what would it be like? Right, that's what it's going to be. Is it going to be ice cream? Is it going to be chili? Is it going to be burgers? What would it be? Let me know in the comments, along with any of the thoughts you'd like to share. These were mine. They're not necessarily important. They're not necessarily right or wrong. They're just what was on my mind. So until next time, bye for now.